Persona 3 Reload is a solid remake. While it's far from perfect, the fact that it brings the story of Persona 3 to life with completely revamped gameplay makes it a strong contender for Game of the Year in my book. That said, the recent episode AIGIS DLC has left me with very mixed feelings, and it's not just due to the price tag. To be clear, I'm reviewing this from the perspective of someone who has never played the answer on PS2, so I won't be making any direct comparisons. Frankly, I don't care if some of the issues I have with it are carried over from the original. This is a 100% honest review from the perspective of someone experiencing the answer blind. Having said that, I must admit the DLC starts off really strong. Before you even begin playing, you're greeted with an incredible intro animation. I hadn't skipped it a single time. Right from the start, you get to see the Cease team's reaction to the MC's death, which is really intriguing. Unlike the typical Persona game where the first hour is packed with tutorials and exposition, the beginning of the answer is actually the best part because, well, things actually happen. Metis is a cool addition to the team. While she can be a bit annoying at times, I don't mind her much, and her character design is honestly really awesome. There's a new dungeon I explored that follows a similar structure to Tartarus, where you traverse different floors. Initially, I was excited by the variety of environments each area has, but once I noticed them repeating, the charm quickly wore off. At the end of each area, you'll get a small snippet of each character's past, which is interesting. However, the glimpses are so brief that they don't add much depth, and overall, the characters don't get explored as much as they could have been. The Monad doors are back though, and they're a nice touch. Now you get to choose from 3 doors of varying difficulties, which definitely adds a layer of strategy that I like. That said, I was pretty disappointed by how many mechanics were reused from the original game. The ambush, personality and characteristics, theurgies, they're all practically identical. Given the €35 price tag, which I'll talk about more later, I feel like there could have been more effort put into making things feel fresh and updated. Alright, I know I just said I wouldn't compare it to the original, but people weren't kidding when they said the answer is grindy. Usually, grinding in Persona games doesn't bother me because you always have the social aspect of the game to break up the monotony, but here, there's none of that. About 8 hours in, I realized I was getting really bored and basically had to force myself to play. It doesn't help that the story is the definition of edging. You spend the entire playthrough following a mysterious figure who's very obviously Makoto, yet the game insists on making it a mystery. Every time you reach a new area, Fuku chimes in with, "Oh my god, who could it be? What is this reading I'm getting?" And it gets old so fast. The whole game feels like a grind. On top of that, there's hardly any new music, which is a huge letdown, especially for a Persona game where the soundtrack is what I usually look forward to the most. It's honestly baffling how the fight with Shadow Makoto, something that's been built up for 13 hours, doesn't even have original boss music. It just feels lazy and it seriously takes away from what should have been a major story moment. Despite that, I can't deny that the few songs we did get, like the new battle theme and opening, are absolute bangers. Fortunately, none of that changes the fact that the DLC basically consists of 14 hours of mostly pointless grinding, with the story only really moving forward at the beginning and at the end. By the time I reached the final boss, the emotional weight just wasn't there. The entire experience left me feeling empty and tired. It made me realize just how perfect Persona 3's original bittersweet ending is. It almost feels like the answer exists just to extend the narrative unnecessarily, rather than enhance it. I never thought I'd say this about a game, but I genuinely wish I had skipped the gameplay and just watched the cutscenes on YouTube. It would have been a more enjoyable experience that way. Now, to top things off, let's talk about the price tag. I don't think I have to reiterate how ridiculous it is. Bundling in pointless trinkets to inflate the price of DLC is becoming an all too common trend in the gaming industry, especially with companies like Sega. They throw in a few pointless cosmetic items and bring up the price, hoping it'll make the purchase feel worthwhile. But in all honesty, I don't think this DLC would be worth it even if it were half the price. The problems with episode AIGIS run deeper than just a few underwhelming mechanics or the high price point. The DLC just feels like a grind fest with very little payoff for the hours you put in. It's frustrating because there was so much potential here. If they had focused on fleshing out the characters more, introduced some new gameplay mechanics, and paid attention to the pacing, this could have been a great addition to Persona 3 Reload. But instead, it feels like a waste of time and a waste of money. With the answer, it's more about the destination than it is about the journey. My final verdict, 4 out of 10. If you disagree, feel free to talk about it in the comments, but this is one DLC I just can't recommend, even for diehard fans of Persona 3. In the end, while there are flickers of brilliance, it is not enough to save this DLC from mediocrity. It simply doesn't live up to the standard that the base game sets so beautifully.